And welcome to this explanation of the Week 3 worksheet that we're going to be doing for our course project. It's the Annotated Bibliography Sources assignment. So far, what we have done is we have chosen a topic area for our research study. We have further focused it to something practical to study. So I'm just going to give you an indication of what I have chosen as just as an example for you, since you may have a different subject altogether. Now I've decided on residential burglary as my topic area. I have decided on my research study to study different methods of preventing residential burglaries. The reason why I have chosen that subject, putting myself in the position of a detective in a police agency, is that we have an overall very large number of residential burglaries in our community. The community is basically looking to us to stop this trend of increasing residential burglaries, and it is incumbent on us to do something about the problem. And so we want to look at the causes of residential burglary so that we can reduce those causes and therefore reduce the residential burglary rate. And so I might, for instance, have a theory that burglar alarm systems are one particularly good way to prevent the number of burglaries in a given jurisdiction because it takes away a lot of the accessibility of the residents to the criminals. And so they will tend to go somewhere else if they're going to do residential burglary outside of the jurisdiction, hopefully, because perhaps everyone in our jurisdiction has burglar alarms and that sort of thing. And of course, there's many other causes for burglaries. Usually it has to do with, when an area has certain accessibility, has a certain amount of, large amount of fensible material inside the house for the typical heroin addict that so often does our burglaries, that we see more burglaries because of that. So I'm gonna get into the residential burglary area, specific to finding ways of preventing residential burglaries in our community by looking for what causes it, what burglars are looking for, and then getting people to take away all those indicators that their house is a good target for burglary. All right, so that's my topic. So we've done that already in our week 2 assignment of sort of interesting our superior in our study that we want to propose through what is essentially an introduction to our research study that we wrote up in week 2. Now we're going to be looking for what has been done out in the world at large, at least in the criminal justice field of the world, in terms of actual studies that have been done relative to our research study. In essence, we would like to know what other people are doing and what they've already done so that we can get a good idea of first whether we have any chance of finding what we're looking for, and maybe whether some of the answers have already been essentially researched for us. So what you want to do is you want to go into what is the ProQuest Criminal Justice Database, which you see right here. You want to look for full text. You want to look for peer-reviewed. Why? Because that's required on your assignment. In fact, let's look at that assignment very quickly just to get you oriented exactly where we're going. All right, so what you want to do here is you want to look for 5 peer-reviewed scholarly articles. That's important. If you don't use peer-reviewed scholarly articles, you will not comply with the requirements and you'll lose points. So make sure that you're only getting peer-reviewed scholarly articles. You're not going to be getting newspaper articles, something you find on a Google search. You want actual scholarly, that means academically oriented articles by people who are out to try to find the truth. They have to be peer-reviewed. That means that they are not published unless they go through a peer review process and are okayed by people who are peers in their group. And so we have a certain amount of credibility that's given to those articles based on the fact that we have that peer review and so on. Now let's look at what we need in terms of information from each of our articles also. First, we need the citation in ABA style. which you can get, by the way, right out of the library, so that part's real easy. Does the article use qualitative or quantitative research? Now, qualitative would be that you're looking for certain um, evidence that is not capable of being put into a number form. It is something like, whether someone had a certain experience or not, had something that we essentially can't put into numbers. And then typically we'll see a lot of the studies where actually what might have been qualitative research is actually put into quantitative form, where they, let's say if one of the issues that you're looking for is how much a person had a certain feeling from a certain program that they went through. Let's say you had a drug program. How well did this work for you? Well, you could put that into a quantitative by having people rate from 1 to 10 what they thought was the effectiveness of the program, that sort of thing. But otherwise, then the qualitative would be something where we can't put it into numbers. We're dealing with things that just simply not possible. Now, remember also that your article may use both qualitative and quantitative research. So you're going to put down in this sheet whether it's either or both of those two different kinds of research. And that'll come, of course, from reading the article to see how they research the particular field. All right, next is article summary. Now you're going to give a 1 to 3 sentence description of the research that is outlined in the article. In essence, what did they research? You don't have to give necessarily all the results, but you do have to, right off the bat, within 1 to 3 sentences, tell us what they were researching. Very important, because this had better be related to your subject matter, or we're going to have another issue in terms of using the wrong reference. We want references that relate to your study, the one that you want to do. Next is the research in this article is related to my selected issue, because you're going to have to explain in 1 to 3 sentences why this article relates to your selected issue. If your issue is how can we prevent residential burglaries, then how does this study that was done in this particular peer-reviewed scholarly article relate to the issue of how residential burglaries can be prevented? Then the next is the research in this article relates to my other selected articles, because in essence, if it relates to your issue, then how does it also relate to the other ones? It might be, for instance, it just adds in additional prevention methods that were not discussed in the other articles, or perhaps it added some and also talked about some that were in common with the other articles, giving cooperation to the other articles about how it did it. All right, so let's actually go through and do a search real quick here. And let's just put down residential burglary for right now. Burglary. And there's also a prevention here, which we might want to use, possibly, because we're looking for prevention stuff. So here we go. Now here's one right here, spatial impact of burglar alarms on the decline of residential burglary. It sounds like it's a real good one, because we're looking for impact of anything that can prevent residential burglaries. And this one looks like it studied the impact of burglar alarm systems on that exact thing. Now it says here, the purpose of the article is to examine the contribution of one private security application, burglar alarm systems, to crime reduction and prevention. Since the late 1960s, the public police have been subject to a research revolution that has enormously expanded their body of knowledge. Police forces have been focusing on numbers of studies and so on and so forth. So we go through this whole thing and we figure out whether this in fact looks like it is going to reduce the number of burglars. And I'll make a bet it is, because burglars do not like burglar alarm systems. That's how they get caught. They want a house where there's nobody around, even the neighbors aren't in the area, and no burglar alarms, so they can get in, get their stuff, and run. And when they see burglar alarms, they tend to want to go somewhere else. Okay, so this is going to be a very good article for me. There's no doubt about it. I can see it right now. Now here's the full text in PDF. Here is abstract and details. Here's your references. This is their reference list, by the way, so that here's all their references. So you might be able to find another article by looking at their references if you see that one that looks like might fit your bill if you're looking for more studies. Now, we also want to cite to it. If you look over here to the right here, I'm going to move this over to the screen so you can see it. If you look at the cite button over here, you've actually got the cite right here. Just simply copy it. It's already got the hanging indents and everything. Beautiful APA citation. Don't bother with the 500-page APA book. Figure out how to do this. It's all done for you. Now you can go ahead and put that into any document without any problems. See if I can just put it in here real quick for you just to show you that it does work. And we put it in there, and there's your citation. Now this has to be double spaced, by the way, so we want to make sure that we double space it. Double space is required in APA format. That's one thing that's not there. And otherwise, now you've got, oh, by the way, it looks like the hanging indents went away. So we got to make sure we have hanging indents. Your special is hanging indents. And there you go. Now you've got your perfect APA citation done for you. Nothing to worry about. All easy. Okay. All right. So we're going to do that for 5 different references this week. And in the process, you may find that you're going to find an aspect of the work that you might want to specialize in even more. Meaning you might find out that you find one article that really hits the nail on the head and you want to follow in their line of research. Perfectly okay to do that, and just keep that in mind that that's how you're going to continue to focus your study. All right, so remember what we're doing here is we are proposing a research study to our superior so that we can ultimately find out more information about what's going on in the world regarding problem areas that we want to mitigate. In my case, it's residential burglaries and how do we prevent them, and we're looking for mechanisms to prevent them that we can talk people into putting into their homes so that we have fewer residential burglaries in our community because we've implemented all those prevention measures. All right. Okay, that's it for this. I hope this gives you at least a good introduction into what we're going to be doing for week 3. Again, if you have any problems or you have any questions or you need any extra help, please feel free to give me a call.